Now turn much milder across most parts of the UK, and better news for weather, and yes, some of it will be falling in the areas where it's badly needed. Might be a little bit too much though in one or two other areas. It's all thanks to weather systems coming in from the Atlantic. Low pressure dominating now, where we've had high pressure for the last few months. It's sweeping in another band of rain from the southwest. The previous one still sitting across northern Scotland, but really spoiling things, I think, if you want to get out and about across most parts of the UK through this afternoon. But ahead of it, still very mild, 17 degrees, a possibility still across some parts of East Anglia. I don't think many of us, though, will be able to take advantage of the lighter evening, because that rain will become pretty widespread as the evening goes on. Cloudy skies following on behind, even once the rain starts to move away towards the north. The next batch of rain not far away, as you can see, pushing into Wales and the west of England later in the night. But double-figure temperatures, so a mild night pretty much everywhere, and certainly milder now as well across the north of Scotland. Low pressure then still dominating the weather into Monday. This little weather system here, this front, you can see the isobars really squeezed quite tightly together just ahead of it, and that promises a spell of particularly windy weather for southern parts of Wales and southern England. But still, the remnants of the overnight rain sitting on across northern Scotland to start the day tomorrow. A lot of clouds sitting over the hills as well. The next lot of rain already pushing in towards the Cumbrian Fells. Some brightness perhaps to the east of the Pennines. That's likely to be the most favoured spot, perhaps the only favoured spot for much in the way of sunshine during tomorrow. Elsewhere, a lot of cloud around, patchy bits and pieces of rain, but that rain particularly heavy as we head further west, and that's where the strongest winds will be. Could be the windiest spell that we've seen for quite some time across the southwest of England and South Wales in particular. Potentially gales, especially over hills and coast. For Northern Ireland, rather quieter. The winds lighter here, at least to start the day, and not so much rain around, but showers will develop, I think, as the day wears on. In fact, most of us are going to see rain eventually, taking a bit of time before it gets into those eastern parts of England, and perhaps the northern half of Scotland not faring too badly with just a scattering of showers. But again, a fairly mild day despite the cloud and the rain, with a few places getting up to around 14 or 15 degrees. Through Monday night and into Tuesday, that weather system that we saw just edges out of the way, and then we're left with low pressure sitting over the northern half of the UK, with this weather front just beginning to push southwards. That'll have colder edges tucked in behind it, which will be trying to make inroads across the far north of Scotland. But for most of us, it's still mild, but that weather front keeping some fairly persistent rain going across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. For the rest of England and Wales, though, a few bright spells and a scattering of fairly heavy showers. Through the middle part of the week, well, the next system comes rushing in from the west. Again, that flow of mild air coming in from the mid-Atlantic, but a band of rain will be pushed in quite quickly, I think, across all areas as that weather front moves in. Again, low pressure predominating, as we might expect. So it is going to be a wet day, I think, on Wednesday. All of us seeing probably 3 or 4 hours of fairly persistent rain working its way northwards across all parts of the UK. Temperatures just nudging down a bit across northern Scotland, and as that rain hits the hills, you might just see a spell of snow for a time across the highest ground. End of the week, well, detail a little more difficult. It does still look quite unsettled, but the timings of rain bands and the dry spells in between are a little bit elusive at the moment. But I think we can safely say that it is going to stay relatively mild, particularly across England and Wales. Most of us will see some more spells of rain from time to time, but at least I think it is going to feel still rather like spring. Now, back to Kent.